Hello, welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another editorial of the cycling world. So over the weekend, they had the UCI World Championships, Gravel World Championships, Gravel. And anyone who's been watching my channel for a while knows that I do gravel a lot. So, but we'll leave that for later. I think I heard that the Retro Grouch might make a cameo appearance, so we'll stand by for that. I personally did not watch it. How many of you watched it? How many of you saw the live or recap, or did you watch like a 2 or 3 minute quick feed? And how interested were you? But I've got some points. Let's address them. And some of them will move pretty quickly, and some of them we can delve a lot deeper and maybe make another video. First thing is, what did you folks think about the course? Now, on a personal level, you know, bike paths, pavement is fine. You know, you got to get from one dirt section or something to a gravel section to another gravel section. I get that. That's just the way it is. It's hard to connect all gravel all the way. When I did Trans Iowa, which is about 320 miles, it just depends on the year, depends on the route, which changes every year. I mean, that was probably 95% gravel, and the rest was a little bit paved here and there to connect to another gravel section. But it was definitely dirt and rock and gravel. But that was Trans Iowa. Anyway, did it almost look like a cyclocross race as well? A cyclocross course? Was that grass? I don't know. Gravel races don't really have grass. You know, we're going to get into what is a gravel race. You know, what is defined as a gravel race. But that's point number one. Point number two, male and female, why did they have different distances? You know, if we concede that gravel racing began in the States and it's a U.S. thing, there is no separate distance or course for the male and the female competitors. It's the same course. It's the same distance, elevation, whatever. It's all the same. And the UCI has a history of this. They do this with the road races. They do this with, you know, let's look at some parity. Let's look at, hey, you know what? If you see that the US is successful with something, well then, you know, typically imitation's the highest form of flattery. Follow the people that have been successful. And when you try your own spin on things, it may not work out. So this is something that, you know, I don't know, 10, 15 years in the making on the US side, right? Okay. So, I mean, did it capture your imagination, I guess, is the thing. Did it make you go, wow, that's cool. I want to get a gravel bike and I want to start riding gravel. If you want to race, that's another thing. But I want to start riding gravel because, wow, this was awesome. This was so cool. Did it capture your imagination? What about the location? Do you think the location? You know, when I think of epic things, that motivates me to want to go there and do that epic thing because of that location. Maybe it's that mountain, maybe it's that trail, maybe it's something, whatever that is. So, you know, I'm thinking, you know, Strada Bianca was and it's, you know, it's on the calendar now, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. That, in my opinion, was more of a gravel dirt race than this was. Why not extend on that maybe? Or, you know, I don't know, follow that kind of format, but do something similar and different at the same time, if that makes any sense. Um, Gravel racing, to me, and anyone who I've been associated with in its beginnings, back in 2007 and 8 and 9, has always been about what is the most epic thing that we can do? How can we make this really hard and people will still want to come? It's been grassroots for a very long time, and it's, 200 plus mile events, 300 plus mile events with a lot of elevation gain, a lot of dirt and rock and things that will cut your tire if you're not careful. Dirty Kansas before it got this Unbound name, and but I don't think that this was extreme. I mean, these are professional roadies, which is, I guess, another thing that we'll talk about later. So was there anything extreme or epic about the course? Let me see what I have here. Oh, yeah, the distance, the terrain itself, or the topography. In other words, how much elevation gain and all that stuff. Circuits, a gravel race with circuits. I mean, here's the thing. Are we looking for fan involvement? Are we looking for people, because a criterium is the ideal place for that, right? You have fans along the sides, usually family and teammates, all along the course. You have a grandstand sometimes if it's a bigger event. And, lap after lap after lap, you get to see the activity. But I don't know. I mean, one of the things that I love about riding gravel is you get out. You go out into the boonies. And part of riding gravel for me is if something breaks while I'm way out here, how am I going to get back? Not so much how am I going to win this race, but will my equipment survive? Will I survive? Did I plan my nutrition properly? Did I plan my stops properly if it is supported? These kinds of things. And so that's what captures my imagination and my willingness to go try an event, which I've not been doing too many of them, to be honest with you. It's been commercialized quite a bit for me. We'll get to that later. So you have to tiptoe that line of, you want fan involvement, you want the sport to grow, but at the same time, that will, in my opinion, reduce the difficulty, reduce the epicness of the venue, because the really good stuff is out of town. It's not typically right in town. I saw one interview where they talked about how someone who might have wanted to host a qualifier for the event was told, well, that event's too far from an airport. So, as far as logistics, that's just not going to work on the UCI side of things. And I'm like, well, but then you're confined to, okay, where's there an airport that's really close to remote riding, which again is what I think gravel is about. I heard someone say also about, one of the beauties or one of the unique things about gravel is this participation. It's an event where you can rub shoulders with, pro riders, and, you're all at this massive start line all together. And maybe you'll see them on the course again, maybe. But, just the fact that you've got several hundred or several thousand lined up to do an event, and everyone's all bunched in, and there's no corrals like, let's say, Leadville, but we're going to go back to Leadville in a minute. So I don't know, maybe that's something that, now obviously when gravel racing started, it was just about you and your mates looking at, hey, let's go do something hard today and let's see if we can shred each other and who's going to finish and then we're going to have this bonding, and we're going to get back after the event, after the training ride, and we're going to have, you know, massive amounts of food and beer, and we're all going to hang out, and we're all going to bond because we did this epic thing together. So there was, you know, there's not this massive start, but as the events kept growing, there was still that that feeling that even though there was 1,000+ riders at the start, it was still kind of grassroots and it's still kind of small, right? So, you know, I've always been the B side of a record, not the A side. I've always been a contrarian. And so when things become very popular, I kind of move away from them. But even still, with some gravel events, even with a big mass start, it still feels kind of small. It still feels kind of homey. It still feels grassroots. So I'm wondering, this circuit type of thing, or just the way it was designed for fans to line up in certain areas, was it about the sponsors? I wonder if the sponsors had something to say with it. Was it about visibility for those sponsors? I mentioned remote riding, which I guess I had in a different point. How about Paris-Roubaix? That's a much harder event, and we are glued to the TV watching this event. Cobblestones, you know, pavement, transitions to cobblestones, cobblestone transition to pavement. We see slide outs all the time. We see punctures, we see mechanicals, and that is exciting because it's not always the strongest rider in the race that's going to win. There's a lot of luck involved. You could be the strongest rider in the race and puncture at the absolute worst time. Your team car is way back. You can't get a wheel. The guys that are on the side of the road, guys and gals on the side of the road with holding up wheels, they're nowhere near you, and that's it. Your race is over. I mean, I think Van Aert punctured, 2 or 3 times at the 22 Paris-Roubaix, and I think he even switched bikes. And, well, that's it. His race was over. I looked at the stats. I mean, and by the way, Paris-Roubaix was way harder than this event. And I think because I come from the background of gravel events are hard, this, you know, for a pro cyclist, for a professional cyclist, this was a walk in the park. Depending on how hard they rode it, this would not have taxed them that much. And just to give you some data, it was only about 120 miles, which is, you know, not that far for a professional cyclist. It only had, and I looked at different people, between 1,500 and 1,700 feet of gain. What was the separator? What was the climb that was going to break this race apart? What was the thing that was the crucial climb, the crucial dirt section, the crucial whatever to totally, blow this race apart, a point of no return where a breakaway or the strongest rider comes to the fore? I mentioned before, Italy's got to have much better places than this. So if we look at, like, let's say, the beginnings of the Tour de France, that was a publicity stunt. Let's go sell newspapers. So let's create a race. And, these people were out in the middle of freaking nowhere. And, now many of the climbs that they're doing, they're paved, but they used to be dirt roads. There still has to be dirt trail mountains, like the Galibier and places like that used to be dirt with fixed gear bikes that the Tour de France guys used to do in a 300, 400 kilometer stage. Come on, we can make this much more epic, much more gravel centric if you believe that gravel means hard, right? Okay. I'm wondering if this is all just about money, right? So you got the sponsors, you got visibility, you got circuits, you got whatever. One of the guys said that to be a qualifier, you needed to spend like, I don't know, 30 to 40,000 euro or pounds or something to host an event. Well, that's going to take a lot of the profits out of a, like, let's say a steamboat event. I don't know what the financials are for an unbound event, but you see what I'm saying. Le Top is a very popular thing. Le Top, if you're not familiar, is where they take the exact same stage that the pros are either riding soon or just rode the course. That way, as amateur cyclists, we get an appreciation for what the pros are getting ready to do or have done, right? So Le Top is a very popular formula with thousands of riders doing that. So, I mean, I guess you could find a way to make money out of this UCI Gravel Worlds. Okay, so road bikes dominated the podium. Road bikes with like 32 tires. Aero road bikes. So does that just indicate how tame the course was? Does that indicate the ability, the rider's skill, or a combination of the two? Or was it just not really a gravel race if you're not riding gravel bikes and gravel tires, right? So I don't know. I do a lot of gravel with 28 tires, right? I grab my Ritchie road bike, I put on 28 tires, and I just go. And oh, by the way, that's if I know I'm going to hit dirt. If I'm just out riding and I'm like, oh, where's that go? Or where does that trail lead? I'm on 25s. Road tires. Race tires. Not puncture resistant, not gator skins or hard shells or any of that. I mean, race road tires, because I'm a roadie. And I just, oh, where does that go? And I take off on that dirt trail, and either people follow me or they're looking for how to get around on the pavement, because I'm going to go through, because that's what's exciting for me about riding dirt. Okay. So, to me, if you're riding anything bigger than maybe a 32, I don't know, get on a hardtail. Like, why do you need a gravel bike? By the way, this poor venue, they're using it again next year. So, to add insult to injury, they're going to do this again. Maybe they'll add a third lap. Maybe they'll make it longer. But, I mean, if you extrapolate and you look at, maybe another 800 feet of climbing, it just nothing. Okay, that does not represent what is done here. For example, when I did Trans Iowa, it was 15,000 feet of climbing. And it was all stupid, steep, short stuff. And there was a lot of hike-a-bike up dirt and mud roads. So, it took me 30 hours to finish that. I'm not a pro cyclist. I'm not fast. But that's how long it took. That was good enough for top 10 because only 15 of us finished out of, I don't know, 100 or so riders. So, there's the difficulty. The DNF rate, did not finish rate, right? That's what here in the U.S. attracts people to these events. They're hard they're hard AF. And you need to be on your best form, nutrition, equipment form to get through the event. So, the Retro Grouch is here. Listen, in my day, there was no such thing as gravel, right? You just got on your road bike, you got on the dirt, and you rode your road bike. many of us for many, many years, steel bikes, 23 tires, 21 tires, 23 tires, and that was big. We just got on the dirt and we just rode our bike. That's it. It wasn't called gravel. It was called, oh, let's take that trail, let's take that dirt and get to wherever that goes, or this connects that road to that road and whatever, right? So I honestly think all this gravel stuff is completely made up. It is completely a marketing thing, but that's what sells bikes. And if you sell bikes and you sell rims and you sell tires and you sell all this stuff, 45 mil, 50 mil, and look, to me, what gravel means to me is when I get my drop bar bike where other people are riding their mountain bike or their hardtail bike, and I do it on my drop bar road bike with skinnier tires than what they're using and less gearing than what they're using. That's the challenge for me. That's what is exciting for me about getting on dirt. So what is it for you? What excites you? What is gravel to you? Now, let's talk about a couple of things, because we know that vehicle versus rider injury and deaths, they seem to be on the rise. Maybe it's because we're all connected via social media, and now everyone can find out about something that happened in Topeka, Kansas. By the way, if you're in Topeka, Kansas, thanks for watching. But you wouldn't have heard about that before because only maybe your local paper would have covered it. Maybe. So is it because we're so connected that we hear a lot more about people getting hurt and injured by a vehicle? So gravel becomes popular because we want to get off the roads. There is traffic out there that we have to contend with and share the road with. And let me tell you, a lot of times it's a scary proposition trying to ride on the pavement with them. But we do it because we're roadies. We love our road bike. We don't want to have a fat, tired bike. We don't want to have a handlebar bag on our bikes, a burrito bag, and all this crap all over the bike with a frame bag and this and that and all that. Let's get all that crap off our bike and let's just ride. 2 bottles in your bike. You don't need the bottles on your fork, on your down tube. That's all just, hey, look, if you need more than 2 bottles for your ride, you need to go to a store and get some stuff. You know, I don't know. I mean, I've done a lot of brevet riding, which is completely unsupported riding. I've done it on 2 bottles. I did a 600 kilometer brevet, so 380 miles because we got lost, with 1 bottle on my P3, on my Cervelo P3, a time trial triathlon bike. You just don't need that much stuff. So get all that crap off your bike. You just don't need it. This one's going to... Are the people, the pro cyclists that are racing gravel, are they washed up roadies? Are they non-hackers? They had to pack their gear, leave the professional ranks, and go ride gravel. We've got people like Ted King and Lachlan Morton and Peter Stetina. These guys are coming over to gravel, winning races and earning a living because, well, they're faster than just a regular amateur cyclist. But is it because they just couldn't hack it in the professional ranks? Hey, look, I can't even sit in the peloton, right in the middle of the peloton, and draft and stay with the pro peloton. I don't even want to go there with anyone thinking that that's the position I'm coming from. I'm just saying pro cyclists compared to pro cyclists. Not me. I'm a scrub. But is that who's coming over to gravel and now winning races? Hey, look, I don't know if that's acceptable to most of you, but, you know, we got to keep... Do we have to keep some separation there? I don't know. Anyway, that's all for today. I want to hear your comments. I want to hear your feedback. And I want to light up the comment board with all of you who disagree with me, the Retro Grouch, or me. But please, leave a comment down below. Please like and subscribe. I wish to have dialogue with you in the comments section. And please, share this with your friends, because I just think gravel's gotten out of control now that the UCI's taken it over, or not taking it over, but, you know, wanting to make money off of it. Okay, please like and subscribe, and in the meantime, we'll see you up the road.